Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Welcome to What If, the show where I, Jake from State Farm, answer your insurance what-ifs. Today's caller is Gio. What's up?
Hey, Jake, what if I'm shopping for a new policy, but there are so many options that I freeze up and just can't choose?
It's okay. An agent can help you choose the right coverage. At State Farm, we're there for your what-ifs.
Oh, now what if I need help deciding on dinner?
Tacos.
Good idea.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or go to statefarm.com for a quote today.
Now, the greatest story never told with Miles and Thrill.
Oh, welcome to episode number 49 of the Greatest Story Never Told podcast. Hopefully you are enjoying the Diva Cup and it's working out just fine for you. No problems down there, and you're saving a lot of money and saving the environment all at once. We actually don't know the commercial that's going to appear at the front of this. We still hope we're sponsored by the Diva Cup.
Or Astroglide. I'll take both.
Yeah, they're amazing products. And keep in mind that if you'd like to be an unofficial sponsor of the Greatest Story Never Told podcast, just send us an acknowledgement that you gave some money to the 3 local Fisher houses. Could be $25, $30, $50, whatever you want to get. We'll give you a shout out, make you an unofficial sponsor. Okay, today we got a couple questions for you. We want to start, though, with an email here, and it says Ola Bacholas. And this is a nice email, so we don't get these all the time, and it's just nice to share. Ola Bacholas, I remember your show appearing on The Buzz and wondering how these a-holes were going to ruin my listening schedule during my workday.
I appreciate that bright outlook. Yeah. I like that.
Now, The Buzz was Radio for Guys.
Radio for Guys.
100.7, and that later became The Wolf, as you know now, the country station in town. But at the time when we got to Seattle, 100.7 The Buzz was Radio for Guys. In the morning, it was Robin and Maynard, followed by B.J. Shea. In the midday, Tom Likas was the afternoon guy. And then we came on as the men's room and did the evening portion.
Yeah, 7 to 11.
That's it. Yeah.
Is that right?
And even though these a-holes came on to ruin my schedule, turns out you became my favorite radio show of all time. We, the listeners, all have great days, normal days, bad days. I've had many of them. Everything changes day to day, so I feel any sort of normalcy is comforting. And the men's room is always delivered. No matter what is going on in our lives, we can depend on pressing our preset from 2 to 6 to feel a little better. Now, I'm sure that you guys also have SE days as well. We are all human. We have tons of SE days in here.
I came in pissed off this morning. And, of course, VD's
and I still don't even know why.
Just in general.
Yeah, right. Okay, all right. Well, I mean, we do. But you know what? Even for us, the best thing that we can do on those days is to be honest with you, come in here and get 4 hours of our own escapism.
Right. Just do the show.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if we're physically sick. It doesn't matter if we're going through some stuff at home. It doesn't matter what is going on. Once we hit the air, it all just seems to kind of go away. And that's the honest to God truth. I mean, I don't know.
It really does. Like sometimes it's a struggle to get till 2, depending what's going on in your world, right? But as soon as the mics come on, it's like all of that melts away. You don't care. It doesn't matter.
Right. I'm sure that all of you or one of you have come into the studio with a pissed off attitude or whatnot. Life happens.
That's just how I am.
Or maybe you accidentally end up asking what turns out to be the most depressing question of the day ever. Or maybe Miles asks how any form of life is doing nowadays. Spoiler alert, it's dead. Thanks a lot for that.
It's true.
Yeah. Well, whichever way the show goes, you guys always end up entertaining us. I've been listening for many years, and I'm unable to call a broadcast of yours a bad show. Well, that's pretty nice. Because we have them. No matter what happens, you are all able to make it effing hilarious. I just want to let you guys know that I don't know you personally, and you don't know me, but your show has helped me through many tough times throughout the years. Your positivity, humor, and shared outlook on life hits more people than I think you guys know. And your effing structure of the show is brilliant. You involve the callers as an actual part of the show. And
imagine that.
You ever say that you're not professional. I call bullshit. I know you'll say that you aren't professional and just drink all the time. Actually, I doubt that last little bit, but you guys know what you're doing when it comes to making someone's bad day forgotten, at least for a brief time, but sometimes that's all we need. Sincerely, Sam, the man sitting on the can. Who says, P.S., if you still are in contact with Ben the Psycho Muppet, please forward this to him. He was a big part of my daily therapy, and I want to give him credit. The reading of John Travolta's message should be irregular. On the end of the year spectacular, PSS or PPS, also Wobbin. We will all miss her laugh. We will definitely send that on to you, Sam. Yes.
It's funny. As you're reading that, the comments are rolling up. And keep in mind, this would not be the time that we are on the air, time of this recording. So as you're reading that, this is hours away from our show. But for whatever the comment comes in, it simply says, hey, people, too much men's room. Need more music, please.
Too much men's room. So there you go.
We're not even on.
Right. Okay.
They're not even listening to us right now.
Too much men's
Too
room.
much men's room.
You know, if there was only a way where somebody out there could just listen to what they wanted to listen to, like at the touch of a button, if there was some way, you know, because one thing that we hate doing, especially when someone pays as much money as you, the listener, to listen to this radio show, is ripping them off.
I know. We do feel bad. All that money that you have to spend.
Yeah.
But I'm working on this thing, and tell me if you guys think this would take off, right? So this person says, too much men's room, need more music. So I'm like, what if there's a way that you could almost create like your own playlist? Therefore, every song that you hear is a song you like, and then I would call it, I don't know, something like Spotify. That's a name I'm kicking around, or like, I don't know,
Pandora,
or hell, man, I'm thinking kind of it'd be antiquated a little bit.
Amazon Music has a pretty nice service.
But I'm working on
that.
this thing called like an iPod. Like I just feel because I understand.
You want to play your music?
I understand this person's pain. Look,
You can't play your own music.
2020. It's time that people have an option to create their own playlist
Steve,
that can set. Because
Steve.
otherwise, because you don't want people to sound stupid. You don't want people to sound like they're incapable of changing a radio station on a radio. Because then I'd be like, why is this dumb motherfucker even contacting us? Because you can't possibly be that dumb. So what I am doing, I am working diligently, and I hope this takes off. I'm talking with Apple. I have this idea called Apple Music. And maybe you could have access to, I don't know, 100,000 goddamn songs that you want to listen to. Wait. Any time you want. So certainly 2 to 6 Monday through Friday.
This
don't want to listen to us.
This will never take off. Remember what happened in Napster.
No, I'm telling you, I'm going to find a way to make it work, and I should let this person know. I should text them back, hey, we're working on the technology that you could listen to what you want to listen to, because otherwise you might sound like a moron.
We're a talk show, so when you walk into a shoe store looking for a wedding dress, don't be pissed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't understand.
You know,
Like, we've been out for 15 years.
Jesus Christ.
It's been taught
and you know
for
what?
15 years.
Again, we'll give you a 30-day free trial, and then if you're not fully satisfied, we'll refund the entire amount, no questions asked.
I think
just
that's
like
fair.
Nordstrom. Although they'll let you return it at any time, we only give you the 30-day window on our subscription.
Just 30 days, right.
So we're sorry about that, but that's just the way we roll because we're tight asses in here.
Have you or a loved one been injured in an accident? Are you struggling to recover fair compensation? Look no further. At Phillips Law Firm, the experienced personal injury attorneys will fight for your rights and get you the justice and compensation you deserve. They handle a wide range of cases, including car accidents, slip and falls, medical malpractice, and workplace injuries. Justice is a phone call away, so don't wait. Call today for a free case review. Call 1-800-JUSTICE or visit justiceforyou.com.
One of the comments is that we got. By the way, we're going to 50. You're going to have to wait for a couple weeks. We're going to take a week off and hold you, in ever incredible suspense for what we have prepared for our 50th episode of the Greatest Story Never Told podcast. But either way, we had a listener who wrote in earlier this week and basically said, Steve, I really enjoyed hearing your mom on the show. She was on 2 or 3 weeks ago. And wondering if you could bring her on or bring your dad on or, talk to other family members as far as bringing them in to tell stories that maybe we don't remember all the way about, childhood and stuff. I don't think it's the appropriate time to bring Steve's brother on right now because obviously any questions we have are going to be about something that he probably can't talk about, which is him being an NFL
He works
official.
for the NFL. And look, the NFL, think of them whatever you want.
They're like Disney.
They run a very tight ship, and there's a reason they're successful, and I'm not going to put him. Look, he wouldn't answer the questions anyway, but we might get him fired just from the questions we ask.
Yeah, I'm going to go see my dad and uncle down in Florida, so, I'm going to bring back the COVID with me, so we might take a couple extra weeks off. But either way, my uncle's got some just amazing stories from growing up that I somewhat remember. I remember at one point in time, and maybe he could share some of these, but I do remember that my uncle decided it would be a good idea to start talking some crap to 2 dudes in downtown Huntington. Now, my uncle was like a long-haired Ray-Ban hippie dude.
Right.
He was a lifeguard in Myrtle Beach for over a decade. To give you an idea, most lifeguards last about 3 years, 4 years.
Maybe, yeah.
He was the guy who stayed too long. He ended up being like the leathered Hasselhoff of the group. Like he was like the chiseled veteran who never went out and got a real job. Well, at some point in time, he starts talking crap to these 2 guys in Huntington. He started this thing in the middle of the street after an afternoon at the bar. This is like 7 o'clock in the afternoon. My Uncle Bill got the ever-living piss beat out of him.
Sure.
These guys just worked his ass over. So my dad takes me over to my uncle's place because my dad needs to get some pot. I'm like 5, 6 years old, right? So I come into the living room, and my Uncle Bill is sitting on the couch, and I'm like, oh, Uncle Bill, like he's my uncle. He's, I'd sit on his lap. I can't wait to see my Uncle Bill, right? My Uncle Bill's got his sunglasses on. I'm trying to pull them off. Like, why can't I see your eyes? My uncle pulls his sunglasses down, and both of his eyeballs are red. Both of his eyes are black and green. Like one eye he can't even see out of, And apparently I just screamed and ran out of the room and ran down the stairs to the car. I was so freaked the hell out. But I'm going to go see my Uncle Bill. My dad's going to drive up as well with his girlfriend. I don't know how the hell that happened, but we'll see how that all works out.
He effed it up.
Yeah, he did. It was supposed to be a guy's weekend, but of course my dad being a pussy, he can't. So, you know what I mean? He can't, you know what I mean? So I'll bring in a couple stories there. We can talk to my dad. My dad's got some crazy stories about the time he spent with me. My uncle definitely does. My mom is in West Virginia, and she's just boring as all. She's like paint dry. I mean, we could talk to her. Maybe she has a good story. She doesn't.
She doesn't have stories. Like people want to hear from my father. I'm like, my father doesn't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing personal. He's a man of few words. He'd be like, my son's an idiot. Beginning and end of his entire story.
Right. My grandmother could spin a good story. She's still around. She's 96 years old. She could tell us some fun things. As far as my daughters are concerned, I've got one up in Bellingham. She would be better fit for the Geek Nation. Sure. As far as what she does and her hobbies and playing Magic and Dungeons and Dragons with her friends, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then my other daughter is down in San Diego. She already caught COVID. She was late on her rent payment this month. She still owes some bills I've been trying to. So she would be interesting to talk to just so I could talk to her and go, hey, jackass, we need to get this crap together. You know what I mean? And then I have a stepfather who lives in Morgantown, West Virginia. And I'm sure he's got a lot of interesting stories about me growing up that I don't remember. Whether they're good, bad, whatnot, I'm not sure. But we did end up digging up some, speaking of Morgantown, some audio. We have some of this stuff left from, and you guys brought up the buzz, Sam, you did on the email. Before that, we were working in Baltimore, Maryland, and we had a show called Out to Lunch. Out to Lunch came on after Howard Stern. We were on a hot talk station there. We did the middays, and some of this stuff we've been able to hold on to. We don't have everything.
We had as much as we could. I think we told this before, but essentially we put in our 2 weeks' notice because that was the professional thing to do. We're going to move to Seattle. Put in 2 weeks' notice. I mean, the moment we told them this, they kicked us out of the set. Essentially, we're fired. Mm-hmm. Okay, but that following Monday, we turn on the station and we hear our show. We realize they're running best ofs of us. Boy, that's difficult to say. Best ofs of us. Anyway, and that kind of pissed us off. Like, we would gladly be there finishing at our time. So we made arrangements with the man of breath, so to speak, and said, listen, guy with the hot wife with the weird breath, said, listen, man, meet us in the alley, grab every CD, because the computers could not handle this kind of thing back then. So all of your best ofs are on CD. And we said, find every goddamn one of them, put them in a box, we'll meet you in the alley. Now, keep in mind, everyone that worked with us in Baltimore hated our boss. That's one thing that absolutely united everyone. So he's like, sure, because we're sticking it to the man. And he meets us, and he gives us this box of CDs. I have now had them for 15 years, and we never listened to them.
No.
It was just out of spite. But a few days later, actually a few hours later, I get a call from our then boss, and he was like, hey, we can't find the best of CDs. I'm like, well, I'd love to help you, but I don't work there, so I don't know what to tell you. He's like, man, I know you've got them. I said, but even if I do, I don't work there. I can't help you. He said, this puts me in a bind. I said, I guess it does, but when you fire people, when they give notice, you're in a bind, bro. I don't know what to tell you. So long story short, they never got them back. We still have them. They've been sitting in my garage until we started this podcast, right? I had to go out there and find them. And every once in a while, it's Mike, not me and Miles, will go through and occasionally listen to some of the things that we have done. Hey, Mike, I don't know what you've assessed. You were listening to some of this as we walked into the studio today.
Correct. As a fan, honestly, it is fascinating to listen to these. It is hilarious.
Well,
you guys have not lost a beat at all.
But we sound younger. That's what bugs me most. Yeah. We both sound so much younger.
Not going to crotchety. You know what I mean? Back then we were having fun. I think we were all getting laid. You know what I mean? Even though we didn't have any money, we still got weed.
Oh, drinking, you're doing drugs, you're having sex. Life was
getting
great.
all yacked up and being idiots.
Now I got kids.
Doing speed.
I'm not even hungover.
You know what I mean? Just masturbating like a monkey at the zoo. Having a good old life. You know what I mean? Living alone.
It's the life you wanted.
Right, exactly. Anyway, we did find this one thing, and you have to understand, if you've never spent any time on the East Coast, West Virginia is the butt of every joke. We make fun of Reno, Nevada out here because it's such a shithole. But on the East Coast, it's West Virginia.
Oh, yeah.
So it's the butt of every joke. And I come from this small town, and I'm working in Baltimore, and, it's easy to pick on West Virginia because it's West Virginia.
West Virginia.
But at this one point in time, there was one famous guy from my hometown. I think there's a number of people who've come out of there, but as far as being a hometown guy, Don Knotts, who was an actor who appeared on the Andy Griffith Show back in the day. Barney Fife.
Mr. Furley.
Yeah, he was Mr. Furley on Three's Company. He was the biggest star we had.
What
right?
else? Apple Dumpling Gang.
Apple Dumpling Gang. Maybe
What else?
Herbie the Love Bug.
Was he in Herbie the Love
Might have
Bug?
appeared in a couple of those. But
Are
he
you
was typically-
sure you're trying to give him more credit?
I don't know. He was like, maybe a time. I thought he
I
appeared
like
with
the guy,
Harvey
but
Korman.
there's two places I knew. Well, three. Apple Dumpling Gang, Three's Company, and Andy Griffith Show.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure all the shows he's on. I can check it. But I'll tell you what. In his later years there, as far as television shows go, Three's Company was the best. He was on Matlock, The Love Boat,
that's right.
Fantasy Island, The Muppet Show, Hollywood Squares, as far as movies go. Cannonball Run, too.
Okay. Two?
Yeah, The Apple Dumpling Gang, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo,
Oh, the classic.
The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again.
I'm seeing Hermie
God.
and Friends all over the
The
place. I don't even know what
Ghost,
that is.
the Ghost and Mr. Chicken, of course, that was a
Oh,
cinematic
yeah,
classic, Anyway, so at the time we learned that the mayor of Morgantown is going to make it Don Knotts Day. All right? So we're looking for content. So we're like, hell with it. Let's call the mayor and find out what's going on in Morgantown, in my hometown, during Don Knotts Day. So if we could, let's go back in time. To the out to lunch days. Back in time. Long time ago.
Coming up on the program, it is Baltimore Mayor Martin O'Malley. Without a doubt. With his guitar in hand at any moment walking in the door. But in the meantime, we have the mayor of Morgantown, West Virginia, Ron Justice, on the line. And Ron, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
We're doing fine. Welcome to Baltimore, man. We're calling you because we read a little bit of information that says that Mr. Don Knotts, who turned 80, on Wednesday?
Correct.
That you guys next year are going to spend the better part of the year honoring him. There are no concrete plans, but the tributes could include a site where people can learn about Don Knotts and possibly a Don Knotts Film Festival.
Jesus.
That's correct. We will be doing the film festival the last week of July.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry to cut in. A Don Knotts Film Festival. Do you want to read some of these cinematic masterpieces?
Sure. He was in Air Buddies, Chicken Little, Private Eyes, The Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again. He was
This is a film festival.
in Gus. The Man Who Came to Dinner. Boy, I bet that's insane. Hey, it's this dude. He came over to our house for
Guess
dinner.
who's coming to dinner?
Yeah. What else they got? He's on the Dinah Shore Show, Flip Wilson, Scooby-Doo. He had his own show, the Don Knotts Show, back in the day, believe it or not. The Don Knotts Special, Jerry Lewis Show, all the typical stuff.
I was just curious to hear what
Steve
the film
Allen.
festival would entail. Yeah,
It's not going to go real deep. The Apple Dumpling Gang, probably the biggest one on there, other than Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo or any of the Herbie the Love Bug movies from Disney.
quite a film festival.
Yeah,
That's
Cannonball Run 2 would probably be pretty good.
It's
All
like
right,
cans.
let's continue with Ron Justice.
Next year.
All right. Well, other than the Apple Dumpling Gang movies that I recall as a child, fantastic movies, by the way, what other movies has he done?
Well,
There you go.
He's,
I'm
credited
still
in
wondering.
Mr. Limpet, everything from he's been in Love Boat episodes to some comedy with George Burns. He was in Gus. I don't know if you remember that movie, Gus.
Was that the one with the horse, the
Yes.
football movie?
Oh, right,
The
yeah.
horse that could kick field goals.
That's
Exactly.
it.
Oh, yeah, that was a classic.
Pleasantville, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
The Ghost of Mr.
Those were
Chicken.
big.
Was that like an Ernest T. Bass thing, like a revival?
And yes, and then some of the Apple Dumpling Gang. So he has a lot of credits. The
And
Herbie
what-
Goes to Monte Carlo. He was.
He goes to Monte Carlo.
And how could you forget Mr. Roper, Three's
That's right,
Company,
Mr. Roper from Three's Company.
and
No,
his
he
own
was
spinoff?
He was Mr. Furley, wasn't it? Yeah,
Mr.
Roper.
Furley.
Mr.
That's
Furley.
right. Furley.
Now, Ron, you're the mayor of Morgantown. Since I left, which has been a while, probably like 92 or 93, you've actually, did it used to be University Avenue? Am I losing my mind?
That's correct.
And that has been changed to?
That is Don Knotts Boulevard.
Don Knotts Boulevard runs through the middle of Morgantown, West Virginia. Now, when Don got the news, Ron, it's kind of a double-edged sword. It's kind of like, I know in the back of your head you're thinking, okay, he's dying. He's 80. We got to get this done before he is, So when you told him about this, was he like, whoa, wait, I'm still alive?
And he's a very shy individual. So really, but he did come for the opening, and it was a nice tribute to him. But he's very shy, and he's humbled at everything that people do for him in Morgantown. But he does come back to Morgantown quite often, and takes part in his class reunions and friends. In fact, he just had one of his best friends pass away recently. But he's in Morgantown quite a bit.
What about Bob Denver? Any thought of bringing him up? He lives in the sticks in West Virginia.
Yeah.
Just
No,
like to
Bob's
do an ultimate tribute.
He's not one of ours. Don Knotts is. So.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, Bob Denver's been
Wow.
living in West Virginia for the last 15 years. Hell, they might as well say he's a resident.
Okay, he's in Princeton, I think. Princeton.
Yeah,
West
he is. He's in the middle of nowhere.
So, and then we have Soupy Sales in Huntington. So,
wow, we're just covering
Soupy
the whole.
Sales,
Wait a minute.
Bob Denver, and Don Knotts.
Let me do a quick Google check on Soupy Sales.
Soupy Sales is not
Now,
alive.
I remember Soupy Sales as a kid, but again, I feel like he was a Hollywood Square or occasional Love Boat guest. You guys are crushing it.
I think Soupy Sales is probably dead. Oh, yeah, he died in 2009.
October 2009, yeah.
And what are some of his credits?
Oh,
You have Don Knotts.
Soupy Sales?
Yeah.
Oh, boy, what did Soupy do? He did, oh, God.
IMDb says he's known for Black Scorpion, The Innocent and the Damned, A Dirty Shame, and Black Scorpion Returns.
Yeah, he was also in the Beverly Hillbillies, the Real McCoys, the Carol Burnett Show.
Ah, okay.
Typical same crap. Yeah. Okay, all right. Soupy Sales.
These are the West Virginia native sons.
Well, except for Bob Denver. He just actually migrated there. Now, here's my question, Ron. And if I'm not mistaken, by the way, were you not the director, president, I don't know what the hell your title was, but were you not in charge of the fraternities and the sororities at West Virginia University at one time?
That's correct.
So you went from being they figured if you can handle these drunken, crazy frat boys, then you can run the city?
That has something to do with it, I think. But no, that's correct. I still work at the university too in our student affairs department. But I've been on our city council for 14 years.
When were you in charge of the fraternities and the sororities?
That would have been. I still have them under my responsibility, but I don't have the direct responsibility for them on a day-to-day basis. That would have been in the mid 80s up till about 93, 94.
Oh, perfect, Ron. This is the greatest story ever. Okay, the Delt House at West Virginia University was shut down, all right? I'm at a party there, all right? And I played football there, by the way, Ron. So it's a bunch of football guys invading a Delta party. Not a good scene, right?
Right.
A little skirmish breaks out in the main room right when you walk into the Delt House. You could go to the right, and it was a great room with like 12, 13, 14-foot high ceilings in there, and everybody partied, all right? So we're all in there, and I can't remember what the celebration was about, but about 4 or 5 people said, what the hell, and started unloading their guns into the ceiling. Do you remember this, Ron?
That would have been a little before my time. I don't remember that.
They shut the Delt House down immediately after because the rooms where the kids were staying were where they were shooting into the ceiling above the room.
Right, I came on board right after they shut the Delt House down. That was works to get to work with that house after they had shut it down.
Now that was a party, man.
I think they had quite a few back then. So.
Now, Ron, since I'm from West Virginia and I'm somewhat famous, have you ever thought about giving me like a day or a minute, maybe like making Miles Montgomery Day, or could I get an alley or anything like that?
I passed that along yesterday. Actually, there's a next year. There's an entire week of the celebration of the arts with our new theaters and Met Theater. You probably remember that. That's been restored. And so I mentioned that to our committee that we would like to bring you back and recognize you with a day. So
thank you.
Receptive.
I think Bloom would be receptive. Herschel Mullins.
I don't think that ever happened.
I think, can we track this guy down again and say, hey, what happened?
He's probably not in politics anymore.
But it's still.
Wait a
got to
minute.
hold some sway.
Okay, there you go. We'll try to dig up some more of those gems for you.
Good.
And,
I don't even remember talking to this guy.
and if you really do have any suggestions for us to talk to any of our family members, we'll try our best. We're not going to say it's entertaining, but we can guarantee you they'll give you a different angle and a different story that we can bring to you.
I will put it this way. I texted my wife yesterday, just real quick, said, hey, because we were debating when we're going to cut the podcast. And I said, well, look, if you're coming down to pick me up and to record it, just sit in if you want. And if you want, you can tell a story. And I asked her one thing. I said, hey, you probably have a better memory of blank. And she's like, I do. And then she goes, with you and Miles, that entire effing summer is one story. I'm like, ooh. I remember none of it. I'll see if she's willing to talk, because I don't know.
Yeah, there's Ron. Ron is he is the director of state and local relations at West Virginia University.
Okay, he's still there, man.
Yeah, he is still there. All right, very good. Okay, there you go. The Greatest Story Never Told, episode 49.
You've been listening to The Greatest Story Never Told with Miles and Thrill on radio.com.
A Double Flush production.